Now is our chance. Now. If we join, we can win. If we win, well, then we'll have what none of us have ever had before. A country of our own.
What other form of government, indeed, can so well deserve our esteem and love? A government in which the executive, as well as all the other branches of the legislature, are exercised by citizens selected at regular periods by their neighbors to make and execute laws for the general good.
Hello, 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 and welcome to another episode of the Think Tank. And welcome to another week. What is it today, Monday? Oh, yay, it's the work week. Everyone go back to school and serve their livelihood at a job that I'm sure you all love and embrace every week with renewed vigor and strength. Well, I'll tell you what, it was a long weekend for the Kiley house, and as much as I wanted to post a blog, I simply couldn't this weekend. And I know, you guys were anxiously awaiting. However, as with you, Monday, today, new day, new week, let's get something going. All right. Have you ever dwelled on a topic, so long that the dead horse rose from the dead because you beat it so hard? I'm sure that many people feel that way when someone starts talking about the Constitution or the Founding Fathers. Give me a break. We talk about it so much these days. I'm frankly sick of it. I'm sick of learning and talking about how this country came together. I just want to live in it. I don't really care how it happened anymore. I'm so tired of talking about how we got our freedoms. Just whatever. Listen, viewers, we can't stop digesting this, discussing this. You understand, this is food for our freedom. Look, our bodies will live for a decent amount of time before starvation kills it. All right? We can go on for what? I don't know, a couple weeks? I don't know, watch I Shouldn't Be Alive, then you'll probably know. That's a good show, by the way. Am I allowed to say that on this? Oh, whatever. The same is with ignorance. If we fast from knowledge and enlightenment for too long, our freedoms will also die. So, to anyone fed up with the discussions about the Constitution, I say this to you. Get out of the way. Don't watch this blog. Keep your head buried in the sand. And how dare you say to someone, I'm so sick of hearing about it. Don't talk to me about it. You need to talk about it. Okay, a few blogs ago we talked about where our founders, found a direction for a free society. I told you that we were going to start doing this. I know it's not the most exciting stuff, but listen, you need to eat the broccoli before you have the dessert. All right? And we're going to continue today, and I implore you, watchers, to take these things to heart and research them yourself. Okay, so Anglo-Saxons and Israelites. What could they possibly have in common? I'll tell you. The idea of people's rule. Okay, you might not even know what people's rule is. You might not even know what the Anglo-Saxons are. Well, I'm going to let you guys do that research stuff on your own. But I'm just going to get into the principles they had that the Founding Fathers really took an interest to. Okay? So, we'll talk about the Anglo-Saxon first, because they're obviously the less known. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe you know Anglos. Anyways. The founders, especially Thomas Jefferson, took a great interest in the People's Law practiced by the Anglo-Saxons. And I'm just going to read some of the statutes of the People's Law that were practiced by them. I'll read 4 of them. There's like 8 really substantial ones, but I'll only read 4 because they're pretty long. Okay, so one is they considered themselves a commonwealth of freemen. So they were all free. Number 2, All decisions and the selection of leaders had to be with the consent of the people. Number 3, the laws by which they governed were considered natural laws given by divine dispensation. And that's hugely important, and that's another blog. But anyways, number 4, primary responsibility for resolving problems rested first off with the individual. Wow, what a revolutionary concept. Then the family, then the tribe, the region, and finally, last at the bottom, last resort, the nation. Now, do any of the attributes sound familiar with our own Constitution? For those of you who have even a little knowledge of our founders, does that tie into the principles they lived or tried to live? Well, how about the Israelites? Well, check this out. The founders were intrigued by the fact that the Israelites operated under a similar system of laws. Some found it so inspiring that one individual, Thomas Hooker, in 1639, wrote the Fundamental Orders of Connecticut. He based off the principles recorded by Moses in the first chapter of Deuteronomy and was the first modern written constitution. All right, this constitutional charter was so successful that it was later adopted by Rhode Island. Actually, when the English converted the colonies to independent states, Connecticut and Rhode Island were actually the only 2 states that kept their constitutions because they were adaptable to self-rule. The others had to be rewritten. Now, the founders, I didn't ever learn this. And do your own research on this. Because just don't take in everything I'm saying. You need to, if I'm wrong, research it yourself and then come back and tell me. And if I'm right, then you'll be like, oh, wow, Drake was right for once. Okay. So the founders actually originally wanted to have both the ancient Israelites and the Anglo-Saxons represented on the United States official seal. Can you imagine that? Separation of church and state. But they wanted the Israelites on the official seal. Well, I guess that was the reason why they didn't do it. Actually, it wasn't. The only reason they didn't put it on the official seal is because the design was so elaborate, it wouldn't fit on the small seal. Oh, I think that would have put a whole different view on things. Okay, so why am I telling you these things again? Because I wasn't taught them. I didn't know these things. And if I didn't know, now I'm not claiming to be the smartest guy by any stretch of the imagination. But if I didn't know, then I'm sure some other guy out there probably doesn't know. I mean, I think these days people have a hard time remembering who we actually fought against to solidify our freedom. Was it Cuba? I can't remember. You see what I'm getting at? Some of the most important things in history are not being taught, or they're being convoluted or saturated with context that doesn't even make sense to what the original intent was. And people could argue that's what I'm doing with this. But I disagree. I'm just going about what people wrote. People, meaning the Founding Fathers, wrote about what they thought. I mean, they weren't hiding anything. It's pretty self-evident why they wanted that and who they studied. Now later, the next one, or the next broccoli blog, I guess that's what we'll start calling them. And the other ones will be dessert blogs, I guess. We'll talk about actually Cicero. Yeah, Cicero. And how the Founding Fathers got influence from Cicero, natural law. And like I said, that's going to be really important about inalienable rights. Because you understand, and despite the religious part, you can't touch those rights. I guess I'm giving you a little insider for the next one. You can't touch those rights because those are inalienable. Those are given from someone higher than any man. So you take God out of the picture, then you have government saying what are rights and what aren't. Very dangerous. All right, thanks for watching, guys. I was going to try to keep this one a little short, but it looks like I ran a little farther. Empowering you to change this country. And email me, drakekiley@gmail.com. And we'll talk soon. Thanks.
This is for the nobody, the one in the crowd who's got a lost look on his face.